Russia-Ukraine war, decisive turning point, parties change goals. After conducting an all-out offensive from 3 directions north, east, and south on Ukraine, Russia has narrowed its scale, focusing on liberating the Donbass area completely and consolidating control over a land bridge leading to the Crimean Peninsula. But the strong resistance of Ukraine and the massive Western aid to Kiev have partly changed the battlefield, making Russia only make small progress. Serious casualties and loss of military assets are eroding the combat capabilities of both Russia and Ukraine. It seems that neither side is capable of achieving a decisive victory using conventional means of combat. Besides, the prospect of reaching an agreement through negotiations is slim. Neither Russia nor Ukraine is willing to make concessions. The conditions for Russia to determine a victory on the battlefield are still unclear, while Ukraine's war objectives have changed. And so the bottom line of the parties in any negotiation remains unclear. Ukraine's neutrality status is seen as a possible outcome of any agreement aimed at ending the conflict. Ukrainian President Zelensky has stated that he is ready to accept neutrality status and that will meet Russia's demand to prevent Ukraine from joining the North Atlantic Treaty Organization NATO. In return, Ukraine will ask the West for strong security guarantees and continued support to increase its military capacity to deal with any future attacks. However, the central issue in any negotiation remains territory. Changing goals and ambitions. Kiev's goals are getting more and more ambitious. Despite being heavily attacked in the eastern region, with the support of the West, Kiev is planning to fully regain the territories it has lost. Initially, President Zelensky's administration focused only on the survival of the country, then on regaining control of the territories that have fallen into Russian hands since the conflict broke out on February 24. Now, Kiev wants to regain control of the entire territory, even Crimea, and push Russia away from all border areas. To accomplish this goal is not easy. The Ukrainian army needs to replenish personnel to replace casualties, re-equip with more advanced military equipment, establish brigades and subunits. New group. In addition to the weapons already provided by the US and its NATO allies, the Ukrainian government is demanding more long-range missile systems to target Russia's supply routes as well as more precision artillery shells to counter Russian superiority on the battlefield. But the current Biden administration has denied this request due to fears of escalating conflict. In the event that Washington changes its mind, it will take months to train Ukrainian soldiers and transfer all those new systems to the Ukrainian armed forces, as the situation in the hostilities changes day by day. On the Russian side, despite suffering many losses due to Ukraine's counter-offensive campaign, up to now, its forces still have the upper hand on the battlefield. According to analysts, Moscow is unlikely to accept a compromise, instead will double its forces in the Donbass. The Kremlin has also not hesitated to show greater ambitions, including moving west along the Black Sea coast to Odessa. In any case, Russia is unlikely to back down because there are many risks if Moscow fails to achieve its goals. Moscow may calculate that time is on its side and that at some point the West will tire of supporting Ukraine, due to mounting financial pressures, as well as the effects of the energy crisis and food. Western reaction. After more than 3 months of conflict, the ambitions and calculus of both Russia and Ukraine have changed, but it is remarkable that the Western response has remained consistent. The Russia-Ukraine war appears to have healed the rifts within NATO, cementing transatlantic relations and bringing the alliance closer to Russia's borders. Finland and Sweden have abandoned their neutrality status to seek membership in NATO. The US and its allies have increasingly strengthened their determination to exert maximum pressure on Russia through new sanctions and continuously break all limits to supply weapons to Ukraine despite sharp warnings from Moscow. Ukraine and its Western partners hope that Russia's military campaign will weaken as sanctions cripple its economy. But Western calculations seem to run counter to reality. So far, Russia's economy has proven resilient, thanks in part to its oil and gas revenues, while global demand for Russian grains, fertilizers, and minerals remains robust. There are also no signs of a decline in Putin's approval ratings or political risks looming within Russia. The Russo-Ukrainian War was the largest war in Europe in modern times, involving all military aspects: land, sea, air, cyber, and space. In the event that neither side wins a decisive victory and there are no concessions, the conflict is likely to be protracted, with widespread regional and global effects. It is not yet clear what issues Russia and Ukraine will have to solve to end the fighting and how the Ukraine war will end, but surely the calculations of the two sides will continue to change when the conflict is over. Month-on-month breakthrough, and this makes the prospect of reaching an agreement more fragile than ever.
And you, what do you think about this? Feel free to express your opinion by commenting and subscribing for more new perspectives.